hunt is on to find Britain's best amateur cooks.
The competition's definitely getting started now.
Real people in real kitchens.
Yeah, baby!
Woo! Face the ultimate cooking challenge.
Oh, no.
I think I've massacred this sauce.
Teams of two battle against the clock.
Panic, 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 panic.
We've got Tart issues.
To produce a restaurant-standard three-course meal
Ta-da!
that will impress their competitors.
But I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it before.
I don't like the look of that brown stuff.
Would have gone for more meat, less hair.
And our esteemed judges. 4 times Chef of the Year, 8 times winner of Best Restaurant plus 2 Michelin Stars, Michael Caines.
I've been working 22 years, 18 years at 2 Michelin Stars. Cooking to my standard is going to be tough.
And founder of leading cookery school and renowned writer, Prue Leith.
I don't want a perfectly good meal. I want an exceptional dinner.
Each team will transform their homes into a restaurant for the night.
Oh, wow!
And the experience will be scored by their rivals.
Can anyone smell burning?
Check the bread.
Oh, shh.
That's not a good start. Haggis on fire.
But ultimately, the judges have the final say.
I think it falls a little bit flat on the palate.
Oh, thanks, Michael.
Part of me thought, God, that looks a mess.
You're just a bit weird.
At the end of the week, the teams will return to kitchen headquarters to find out who will reach the next round.
I'm going to give you 10.
The final winners will walk away not only with £10,000,
Stop cooking.
Step away from your benches.
but the right to say, my kitchen rules. It's day 3 of the competition in the Midlands and Wales region. Yesterday, Inseparable Sisters 2 and Twee brought a taste of Southeast Asia to Birmingham
What a wonderful transformation.
and scored 58 out of a possible 90 points.
I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you.
But that wasn't enough to beat Foodie Fiancés Laura and Lewis, who remain top scorers so far with 62 points.
Well done.
Unbelievable.
Almost perfect.
Almost perfect.
There are 2 more teams left to cook. Today we're in the proud Derbyshire town of Chesterfield,
Clock started, Rachel. Let's get shopping.
where medical mates Rachel and Andy have 7 hours to shop
Let's get shopping, Rachel.
and create a restaurant-standard 3-course meal and restaurant theme before their guests arrive.
Better get moving, haven't we?
I'm Rachel, this is Andy, and we're from Chesterfield. We met at work. Sorry.
We met at work.
We've known each other for about 10 years.
I'm an occupational therapist. So how many times a week are you playing football?
I'm a registered nurse. So 143 over 77, that's within normal parameters, that's absolutely fine.
The relationship with me and Rachel in the kitchen is very much like our working relationship.
If you chop it up first before you put it in the bowl, it just makes it go, tends to go everywhere.
It takes a very brave man to go in the kitchen with Rachel.
Don't come on, this needs to be really hot. It's a minute either side, it's so easy to do.
I'm quite happy to do as I'm told.
Right, shall we take this through, everything's ready?
Yep.
When I was at school, actually cooking was a passion then, but it was actually discouraged. Get stuck in, guys.
Oh, look at that.
If we win the £10,000, I'd like to do what I've always wanted to do, is pursue a career in food.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
With £10,000 at stake, every second counts.
We're well practiced, well organised, and if we stick to that and stick to what we've rehearsed, then it'll not be a problem and we'll nail it.
In just a few hours, Rachel and Andy's rival teams will arrive to give their verdict on their restaurant for the night. But also taking their place at the table are 2-star Michelin chef Michael Caines.
It is what it is, bland and lacks seasoning.
And British culinary connoisseur Prue Leith.
It's not as satisfying as it should be.
Points will be deducted if food is late.
About time too, Dan.
And only 2 teams can make it through to the next round. So Rachel and Andy need to get cracking and catch their starter, scallops.
Hi, all right. Can we get you this morning?
We are wanting
30 scallops with the roe removed, please.
For starter, we're preparing caramelised scallops, cauliflower purée, crispy pancetta and brown butter breadcrumbs.
Cooking scallops can be risky business, especially when caramelising them. I'm looking for the cauliflower purée to be smooth, so for that it needs to be well cooked and also faux flavoured.
Starter sorted, Rachel and Andy focus on buying fillet steak and oxtail beef for their main.
Fillet mignon is a prime cut of beef from the cow. It is beautifully tender, melts in your mouth.
I like it cutting into roughly 6-ounce portions, but I'm looking at the different thicknesses on... Yeah, I don't want them too big. For main, we're preparing fillet mignon with oxtail and red wine, fondant potato and asparagus.
The thing about all steaks is to cook them fast and furious, so that you get the outside nice and brown while the middle is still pink. But will they be brave enough?
Fillet steak, my dear. Thank you very much.
Like 5 pounds worth of oxtail.
Oxtail.
I don't want the really, really tiny ones. I hardly any on it.
That one?
Yeah,
That one's
all the
good.
bigger pieces, yeah. That's it, we need to get back. Hurry on.
The medical mates still have 5 hours left, but Rachel wants to get the meat and fish into her fridge at home before continuing with the shop.
This is just going to start eating into what time we've got left.
Oh.
Right, let's sit. I can't get the last bits from the market and then we're finished, yeah?
Heading home has cost the pair a precious 30 minutes, and they still need to buy the fruity components for their dessert.
No panicking yet.
Oh, we said, didn't we, 8 fresh raspberries?
For the compote.
Yep.
Dessert is Bakewell tart, raspberry compote and custard.
Homemade Bakewell tart, what a treat. I'm really looking forward to that pastry to be nice and thin, not too doughy or heavy. It's got to be cooked to perfection.
Andy and Rachel are finally on the home straight, but that travelling back and forth has set them back.
Oh my gosh, about now we've got 4 and a bit hours before our guests arrive. Can you believe it?
Gone quick.
3 hours gone, and they've still got to do as much food prep as they can and create a themed restaurant for the night.
That's all the ingredients sorted, Rachel. Let's go and make the restaurant look glamorous.
So having seen Rachel and Andy, I'm sure they're going to really go on presentation.
Stylish.
I'm not quite sure where it's going to be yet.
Rachel has been very competitive, you know, but she's quite secretive.
Looking good now, isn't it?
Yeah, we've done a really good job.
The impression it wanted to give was it's going to be a 5-star restaurant, and I hope it gives that impression. Right.
Finishing touch,
Yeah.
Rachel.
These knees, Rachel.
I think it's very apt for the restaurant.
It is. It's a favourite cocktail from the 1920s. If people really don't like this, then they probably don't really like us either.
Rachel and Andy now have 3 hours to prepare as much food in advance as possible.
Feeling all right? Yeah, feeling fine, yeah.
It's definitely starting to feel real with putting
It
the
is
aprons
now.
on.
It has to be the oxtail first. I'm going to sear that in some olive oil, add salt and pepper and dredge them in flour and get them a bit crispy. I want it to be where it just sort of melts in your mouth.
The vegetables we're using for the oxtail: fennel, carrot, celery, shallots, wild mushrooms.
We've got celery in here, haven't we?
You've got celery in there.
I want to get this oxtail in and cooking down in the pressure cooker so it's nice and tender. The time, you know, we're under pressure. I've used the pressure cooker 3 times. It's probably not the best idea to be using it in a competition. Stock next. So I'm using this beef stock to enhance the flavour.
I'm just doing the cauliflower in some butter for a couple of minutes, just to brown it and soften it.
Season that with some white pepper and salt. Cook it through with some milk and cream. And then when it's cooked and soft, it needs to be blended and made into a puree.
It's quite therapeutic, this.
I've been making this Bakewell tart for 30 years. For the jam, I'm going to use equal parts jam sugar to raspberries, and I'm going to boil them in the pan, leave them to simmer for about 20 minutes. Nowhere near, I've got to wait for it to go a bit more, just... So I'm going to leave this simmering and get on with my pastry. I'm going to use half butter to the flour, for plain flour, a little bit of salt and egg yolks to bind.
And give it a blitz.
I'm going to roll out individual tarts and then I'm going to blind bake them. I think these are looking OK.
Baking blind means the filling isn't added to the tart until the pastry has baked. It reduces the chance of the crust going soggy.
In 12 minutes.
There's just over an hour until guests arrive, and Rachel's about to come unstuck.
Do we need to look at that jam?
Too high. Oh my gosh. I put the thermometer in and I've overcooked the jam. This has never happened before. Think we can serve it?
No, right, I think we need to do it again.
We need to sort of do it quite slowly, and if I mess this one up, we're struggling. Now I'm taking the lid off the pressure cooker to check the oxtail. They're not tender.
We'll get them back on.
They're quite hard, which is not good.
Another disaster.
I can't believe this is happening.
With just 1 hour until guests arrive, the oxtail needs to be put back into cook.
I thought it was a good idea with the pressure cooker, but it's turned into an absolute nightmare.
I'm going to prepare the fondant potatoes. I'm going to fry it in clarified butter, and then they'll be transferred into a dish and put to one side for later.
We have done these in the oven, we've tried them, and they've been quite successful. They're looking all right.
With just over 30 minutes until the other teams arrive, Rachel must check the progress of the oxtail.
No, it's not as tender as it has been, but I think it's going to be fine.
I would suggest maybe we have a quick change and then come back to it.
Andy and Rachel's 7 hours is almost up. Their guests are on the way.
I've got a feeling Rachel and Andy are going to put on an absolute show tonight, to be honest.
Right, we've got just under 2 minutes left.
Rachel and Andy, we consider them as our rivals, so we're very interested to see what they're going to do tonight.
We have got 30 seconds.
I think it's all going to be totally beautiful.
Oh.
Is that it?
That's it. Three, Rachel.
Yes, nice to see you.
How are you? And you?
Busy in the kitchen?
You look very, very calm.
Yeah, they look really relaxed, actually, so not a care in the world.
I hope the guests are wowed by the restaurant. I think it's looking pretty amazing.
Wow, look at this.
Wow, looks amazing. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Wow, wow, it's really pretty. Great.
Whoa, look at that.
Beautiful decorations. On the bottles are like gold and colourful.
It's Hollywood in Chesterfield. It looks like it's going to be.
Hi, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to welcome you to our restaurant for the night, which is called the Bee's Knees.
I want to take you back in time, the 1920s era. It's really about a sense of occasion and drama, and hopefully you'll enjoy our food.
So we're going to get back off to the kitchen now, so we've still got lots to do. So I hope you enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
I love the sort of Tiffany thing going on with the mats and the way it follows through under the tablecloth with all the crystal. Lovely.
And the menus.
Oh, it's cute.
Beautiful, aren't they?
With rival teams seated, Andy checks on the oxtail before the arrival of tonight's top judges.
The oxtail really adds that depth of flavour.
Award-winning chef Michael Caines and cooking legend Prue Leith are at the scene.
It's nice. The thought of Michael and Prue coming round is making me the most anxious, I would say. Just because of cooking for, people who've got such awards.
I'm feeling nervous.
Here we are.
OK, here we go.
Hello, my Rachel, Andy. Lovely to see you again. You all right?
Yes, I'm well, thank you.
Good.
You look very calm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed we stay that way. Let's go through.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
Wonderful. Oh, my goodness. What wonderful.
This really is the bee's knees, isn't it? Look at that.
So, welcome everyone. We'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you into Rachel's home and our restaurant for the night, which is called the Bee's Knees.
It's got a real buzz about it.
If you'd like to take a look at your menus.
Fabulous.
For the start of this evening, we're preparing caramelised scallops, cauliflower purée, crisp pancetta, and brown butter breadcrumbs.
For the main, we are serving fillet mignon with oxtail and red wine, fondant potatoes and asparagus.
It's a bit ambitious, isn't it?
Interested to see how they do the fondant potato because it is one of our favourites.
And finally, for dessert, we're preparing a Bakewell tart with a raspberry compo, and that's being served with custard.
I think it's a technically difficult menu to cook.
I have to say there's a familiarity about your starter and main. I do some combinations very similar myself, so I'm looking forward to this. It should be interesting. So.
You think they'd be nicking your recipes?
Didn't say that, Prue, but I couldn't go far wrong if they had. We're both salivating at the prospects of tasting this menu. I know you're very keen to get back into the kitchen. We wish you luck and thank you again.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
With guests and judges seated, Andy and Rachel have 45 minutes before serving their caramelised scallops and cauliflower purée or lose points for being late.
I'm going to make the cauliflower purée. It's really important that it gets a really nice colour.
It looks how I wanted it to look.
It's nice flavour.
Taste. I just want to get it warm and get it out of the way. And you've got an extra hob there.
We'll cook the scallops in the pan that's had the pancetta in, give it that bit extra flavour, and then when they're finished cooking, we'll squeeze some lemon juice over, give it a bit of freshness.
So, Karen, you love this menu.
I do.
Would you feel happy about cooking it if you were in the kitchen tonight?
I would be on edge to get that wonderful caramelisation on the outside without overcooking the scallop. It's really hard.
It looks fantastic to us. We both love scallops, so we're really looking forward to starter. We know more about the Asian cooking, so we're really looking forward to some really classic tonight.
Guests should be tucking into their starter in just 15 minutes' time, but Rachel's having a problem with her hob.
That's gone off.
You all right, Rach?
Fine, yeah, I'm just saying that's gone off the back to the back. I can't believe that. So hot, but they're not cooking the same.
I'm really worried about this because now I've got the caramelised scallops and I've got some that aren't caramelised at all.
Rachel, we've got 7 minutes.
Rachel and Andy need to start plating up.
Do
you want me to plate those?
You plate these. Big ones can go in the middle. I need to get that pan. Try and get the caramelised ones at the top, yeah? These aren't as good.
Bring me them scallops, otherwise we're going to be late.
They're not. This isn't caramelised.
I'm going to have to plate up. I'm not completely happy because some of them aren't caramelised properly.
It's time to go. We need to get this food out into the restaurant.
Let's
hope it goes down well.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Starter is served.
Andy looks a little bit under the pump, is that what they say?
Yeah. I think he might be under the pump from, Rachel cracking the whip. To be honest.
Thank you.
Judges Michael and Prue will be the first to taste and give the lowdown on Andy and Rachel's starter.
Rachel and Andy. My scallops are beautifully cooked, not overcooked at all, nice and tender in the middle, nicely browned, the pancetta is crisp. All of that works very well, but I think the cauliflower is very tasteless. It doesn't add a lot to it. And the slightly missing brown breadcrumbs, I'm sure there were meant to be some.
They're underneath the scallop.
They're underneath the scallops? Ah, so they're no longer crisp brown breadcrumbs because they've been sandwiched between the cauliflower and things, so they're now sort of soggy brown breadcrumbs. But I think it's a fantastic try. I mean, this is a very professional looking and accomplished piece of cooking.
Thank you.
What do you think, Michael?
Rachel and Andy, the technical cooking of the scallop for me, for my plate, has been spot on. Nicely caramelised, soft, warm centre. I think the crispy pancetta is not that crispy, in fact, and I think in that regard it's an opportunity missed. You've been really bold and brave in just letting this dish try and sing for itself. But I think it falls a little bit flat on the palate. And I think after a while, when you eat it, it just becomes a bit repetitive and, may I even dare say it, a little boring.
Well, I know you two are keen to get back into the kitchen and get on with our main course and let these people start eating.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Oh, what do you think?
I think it was all very fair and true. We've over-peppered it before, we've put too much salt in it, and we just probably felt lucky last time. We got a really tasty cauliflower into it. We'll take it on board and we'll crack on.
Yeah.
It's now the rival team's turn to taste the starter. At the end of the evening, they'll be scoring the medical mates with marks out of 10 for the whole three-course meal.
Sadly, my scallops aren't caramelised.
Cauliflower is a little bit plain.
I'm overwhelmed by the portion size. There's so much cauliflower puree, it's a bit like a bland mashed potato.
So, Lauren Lewis, what did you think of the starter?
Because I had varied sized scallops, some of them were cooked absolutely perfectly, but the smaller ones were slightly over.
It was like my mouth was being coated with the cauliflower and it was preventing me maybe from tasting the other elements on the plate.
Twee and two, did you like that starter?
Yes, but I think it's a little bit bland. My scallops were not really caramelised.
I think we've got time to test how long it's going to take to cook these steaks.
That's a really good idea.
Great, they're huge. They're going to take forever to cook. They're going to be 2.5 minutes each side if you try and get them all the same size.
I'm not cutting them down. I think it's exactly as your cow's died for it, hasn't it?
So whatever you're happy with, Rachel, I'm going to just pop these in because I want it to be cooked all the way through and nice and crispy. Just always take them out.
I absolutely love beef, so that's right up my alley as well.
Fondant potato is not always easy. Nothing as nice as a nice unctuous oxtail in there, red wine.
It's one of your favourite things, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
It looks delicious.
This is a test of steak.
Let's have a look, see how it is. 4 minutes each side. I trust you.
It's just if I can...
This steak is amazing. I could definitely polish the whole lot off.
Andy might want to finish that meat quick. An impromptu inspection is underway.
Hi guys, how are you getting on? Thought we were meant to be eating. Andy, you're speechless, mate.
So we just wanted to practice run to see how we could get them cooked.
Right.
To have Michael in my kitchen, it's a surreal experience.
Are you on time? There's no issues in terms?
I think we're good for time.
By virtue of what it is, Fillet, it's not the most flavoursome cut, but you put it with the oxtail, which has got plenty of flavour, so I'm looking forward to tasting that. Well, OK, well, I feel that you've got it all under control. I'm very excited to taste this. You can get back to eating your steak. And don't forget, share is caring, so leave some for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A two-Michelin Star chef like Michael in the kitchen. What an amazing thing. I can't really believe it's happened, can you? What is that?
With 45 minutes to get their steak to the table, that hob is still running rings around Rachel.
No, it's not coming on.
You know, when you're pulling the pan forward, I think you're touching these buttons. Just make sure it's still on. That's only on number 5 now.
You need to move your pans. I think you're switching off the hob with the pans.
That don't feel great, does it? Oh, that's on.
Don't be negative.
I'll be negative.
You are. We're just now making the oxtail and red wine, and then that just wants gently heating so it doesn't break up, and then that's the jus for the gravy boat things.
Not happy with that.
Once they're nice, even cooked with the seared lines on the top.
Better. Yeah, we'll go with them.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Andy and Rachel have 10 minutes to plate up.
I'm going to do the asparagus. Beautiful, just how I want it to look. I'm going to put the potatoes on the plate while we're waiting for everything else.
I think it's smelling good. Quite happy with it.
Can I put the taters out now, Rach?
Oh, yes. What do you think there?
Come on. Main is served.
Thank you. The size of the steak is massive.
The judges will taste Andy and Rachel's main course first.
Prue's rolled her eyes, so it looks really promising.
Rachel and Andy, your main course is an absolute triumph in flavour when it comes to that lovely oxtail and red wine sauce. It is stunning, perfectly balanced. That, as a sauce, is a standout sauce I've tasted so far in this competition. It is absolutely sublime.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. To get that and to hear that said about something we've worked together on is unbelievable.
I'm in shock. I can't quite believe it.
However, the fondant potato, it's like you've cooked it in, you know, clarified butter. And the problem is fondant in its nature is to cook in stock. And if you're just going to cook it in oil or fat, you're effectively just frying it and you're not adding any flavour to it. You've got away with this main course in its simplicity because you've executed so well those elements of the oxtail braised in the red wine and the fillet beef is cooked beautifully. So, well done.
Do you know, I don't have very much to add to that. I mean, I really think it is a triumph. The beef is perfectly cooked, the sauce is delicious, the asparagus is a little too al dente. You don't get that asparagus flavour until it's cooked a little more. Like this, it tastes like pea pods or like raw peas. You describe this as filet mignon. I would say this is a tornado. This is a huge, great fillet steak. Filet mignon is a tiny little slice of steak. And to be honest, I think as a main course after those scallops, which were quite, you know, with the cauliflower, quite a big first course, you'd have been better off with a couple of thin mignon steaks. But I would change the menu title.
But that's really, really good feedback, so thank you.
You've still got pudding to make. Your guests have got their main course to eat, so perhaps you better get back to the kitchen. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Happy?
Very,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. My heart's racing and I'm really quite excited. But I think, you know, I've still got that thought that we've still got another course to get at, so I don't want to get carried away.
Andy and Rachel now have a final 45 minutes to get their dessert to the table. But what will the rival teams think of the main?
That's a bit stick.
Lovely piece of meat, isn't it?
Oh, it's delicious, yeah. Really nice.
With the oxtail and with that sauce, it works really well.
I mean, it's not risky.
It's not risky, but it's a very nice plate of food.
So, guys, what do you think of the main course?
The meat is great. Cooked exactly how I like a piece of steak.
It's lovely. Really enjoy it. But I have to say, it's too much for us. Hopefully I'll be able to grow a few inches after this.
Because it was so delicious, I feel really bad about leaving it. I hate wasting food.
It's a really good point. They have to make a decision to balance that dish and get the right portion size.
A good restaurateur wants to sell a pudding, and if the customer is completely full before they've even finished half the main course, they're never going to buy a pudding.
Guests are due to eat Andy and Rachel's Bakewell tart with raspberry compote and custard in 25 minutes.
I need to get the custard cream in the middle and add the vanilla pod, get that warmed through, and then add it to the egg mixture which I've made earlier.
Oh, it's lovely.
No?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
You're all right?
Yes.
Having one of them moments.
Andy, I'm just popping the topping onto the Bakewell. I don't want to overfill it.
I am concerned that Bakewell isn't a light dessert, and after the large main, it might be a bit too much.
I've just taken out the compo. We want some of the whole fruit, so it's been cooked down with some sugar and just some orange juice to reduce it, just to sweeten it up a little bit.
It's a bit sour, a little bit sour on this, a little bit of sugar. Add some sugar to it and then add it back to that, so I think that's the thing.
Put a bit more sugar in the syrup and add that to the compote to make it a bit sweeter.
Having parents that grew up in Bakewell, I've had a Bakewell tart a few times.
There are 100 different ways that people do Bakewell tart, aren't there?
Yeah.
And the Bakewell one is bigger and squishier and more puddingy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Andy and Rachel now have just 5 minutes to plate up or they'll lose points.
That's not ideal on there. That's broken there. I forgot a plate or something to put them on.
These tarts aren't coming out of the tins properly.
Oh, crack, yeah.
Great. That's not good. That one, I was going to have that one. That's.
I know it tastes good, it's just, you know, I wanted it to be better for the judges.
Right, so this is the best one for the judge, this one. And which is the other one for that one, that one.
Yeah. That's it, the desserts are ready, there's nothing else we can do. Let's go. Dessert is served.
Look at the size of the Bakewell tart. Where am I going to put it? Especially you. Where are you going to put it?
Once again, judges Michael and Prue will taste the dessert first, then critique the dish.
Michael's, again, not giving anything away.
Good. You know what? This just might be the best Bakewell tart, raspberry compote and custard I've ever had.
I'm gobsmacked. That's unbelievable. It's amazing.
It's absolutely delicious and it all goes together very well. The pastry is very thin and there's lots of real frangipani almond paste in the middle. It's lovely. I think it's going to be too big, but it's beautiful.
30 years of practice has paid off, Andy.
What do you think, Michael?
Rachel and Andy, your Bakewell tart, the taste sensation is amazing. That raspberry jam or base is just sensational. Faux flavoured and delivers. The pastry itself very thin. I can see you probably had a little bit of trouble getting it out of the tarts, and I think perhaps slight overfilling of these tarts as well. But that doesn't take away from the flavour and quality of that Bakewell tart. The custard, well, that's a proper English custard. The only criticism I've got is the fact that it lacks a little bit of sugar. I think you could probably got a little bit more sugar in the custard. There's plenty to celebrate, and it's a wonderful way to finish your menu.
Thank you.
I'm really delighted with your comments, thank you.
And since everybody else is just longing to eat this beautiful pudding, you ought to go away and let them do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, enjoy.
Oh, God.
Oh, well done. It's amazing.
Wow. Oh,
I'm
them
really
comments.
pleased. That feedback was ace.
It's time for the rival teams to give their verdict on Andy and Rachel's much-praised Bakewell tart.
I actually think all the flavour and the sweetness and the sourness actually balance themselves out.
I'm not Bakewell's biggest fan, unfortunately, but it's nice.
3 and 2, I'm trying to see how much you've eaten. Did you enjoy it?
Well, for me, I don't eat sweet things, but this is lovely dishes.
I thought it was delicious. I thought it was really well balanced. Really nice pastry shell, beautifully done, better than anything I can do. And that raspberry really complemented the frangipane beautifully.
I'm not a big lover of Bakewell tarts, to be honest with you. Law's mum makes quite a lot of them.
Careful what you say.
It was well cooked, though. I can appreciate the technique that they've used to make sure the pastry was thin.
You guys feeling pretty confident that you can stay on top after tonight?
We're here to cook against the best that the UK has to offer. I think Rachel and Andy have really stepped up tonight, so fair play to them, good luck.
At this point, the competition is on.
Rachel and Andy's rival teams will now critique their food and give them a mark out of 10.
I personally would have made a few adjustments.
I had a couple of little tiddlers which were really overcooked.
Main, I thought, was delicious.
I'm thinking about a 6.
I was going to say 7.
OK, let's go with a 7.
The steak they make for me, I really enjoy it.
It's the first time I've ever tried any homemade Bakewell tart, but I struggled to finish. So we're going to give them a score of 6 out of 10.
OK, I read.
I think it was outstanding.
Dessert, I thought the Bakewell tart was lovely. So overall, I'd say a 7.
And I would probably agree.
The judges will reveal the guests' scores before giving their own verdict on Andy and Rachel's Prohibition-era-inspired restaurant.
Rachel and Andy, thank you for transforming us back to the 1920s and taking us to an experience called the Bee's Knees. Your guest scored you tonight 20 out of a possible 30.
That's great, isn't it?
Really pleased. It's the highest score so far from the guest of the week.
With 20 points from the guests, Rachel and Andy need at least 43 points from the judges to beat the Foodie Fiancés 62 and claim the top spot.
Your caramelised scallop with cauliflower puree, crispy pancetta and brown buttered breadcrumbs was a fantastic way to get this evening off. The scallops are really well cooked, perfect in fact. Sat on this puree of cauliflower, which wasn't as successful as perhaps you would like it to be.
Everybody thought it was beautifully cooked. There was a problem with the cauliflower, bland and too much of it, so it wasn't a perfect first course.
I'm going to score you 6 out of possible 10.
And I'm giving it 7.
Rachel and Andy, your filet mignon with oxtail in red wine, fondant potato and asparagus was a great main course. Faux flavoured, beautifully cooked fillet steak and this decadent tender oxtail that had been braised in a wonderful sauce which was rich, intense and beautifully seasoned. The fondant for me was not really a fondant, it was more of a posh roast potato.
My first complaint about your main course was simply the size. Overall, I thought it was quite a triumph. It's a very difficult thing to cook, and that sauce was beautiful.
So for your main course, I'm going to score you 7 out of a possible 10.
I'm giving you a score of 8.
That's amazing.
Really, really pleased with an 8.
Your dessert, Bakewell tart, raspberry compote and custard was a great way and a triumph to end your menu. The thing for me that was impressive was the tart itself, the thinness of that pastry, the lovely acidity and fruitiness through the jam, and that frangipan that was beautifully done. The custard I thought was a good custard, but it lacked a little bit of flavour.
I thought the Bakewell tart was perfect. It wasn't a piece of elegant perfection like you'd get from a fantastic pâtissier. It was a really good homemade tart.
For your dessert, I'm going to give you 7 from a possible 10.
I'm giving you 9.
Prue Leith has given me a 9. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe it. It's not really Sun King, so I just...
With 64 out of a possible 90 points, Rachel and Andy become the highest scoring team in the Midlands and Wales region so far. If they stay top of the table, they're guaranteed a place in the next round, whilst the lowest scoring couple will be eliminated. There's just one team left to cook, Nottingham newlyweds, Karen and Alex.
And looking to tomorrow, we have our final 2 cooking for us. How are you feeling? Nervous? Apprehensive?
It's going to be tough, but I think we're up for it.
We can promise you robust flavour and interest tomorrow.
Oh, thank you for everything. Oh, good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Bye.
Great evening.
Great food.
Great people.
I think we can follow that.
Absolutely.
Next time.
Come on, water, boil! Mind the gaps, all right?
Do one.
All right, then, I'm going to do a blob.
I can't stop.
We have to go.
We waited half an hour for that dish.